or YouTube later. Okay, so this is our third edition of BC Open Discussion Season 4. And as discussed in the last week, there seems a little bit more interest toward the Copilot edition in Business Central. So I've deprioritized the other topics that we thought we'll talk. So we'll see what is there, and then if it makes sense, and I'll leave it to you guys at the end of the meeting. As promised on the first meeting, if needed, we can get into how you can kind of build the whole model for yourself. Today, we'll just explore what's available in BC. And then if it makes sense at the end of the meeting, I'll again ask the question. We might leave other things and we might get a little bit deep into the whole Copilot part that's available on Microsoft. Okay, so let's start with it. First one is chat with Copilot. I did saw most of it in the previous week. This week I was a little bit occupied. With the chat always starts from your home screen. You will always see this action on across your application, wherever you are, in whatever application area, whatever page you are in. This will sit like our Control Alt F1, whatever that is, what that called, inspect. In the same way, this window will remain as it is. Let's quickly understand what it is. So it kind of understand who's the user, welcomes you, and then gives you some tips what it can do. It can find things for you in your data, inside your database. It can explain you what certain features or certain fields or certain column means. And it can also help you to do certain things. So if you are a new user in Business Central, you don't know how to do X, you can surely search for it. So let's try to use this in a while. But other than this, you will notice that there are some pre-built templates here of to help user to how to get started with it. Additionally, you'll see here the built-in prompts. Now these prompts are again for the beginners to begin with of how you can use a guide feature, and then there are some pre-built questions or how you can do a find. So you can search for these, how you can ask for a field detail or a process. So you can then look up for it. So let's test it out. So right now, let's say I'm sitting on vendor's card and I would like to, let's use some. Okay, show the latest sales invoice for customer. Okay, and it just says so show latest. Let's say invoice for customer, and I don't know the customer name, so I'll need to know that. Let's head into customers. Let's see the name. Edit them. Okay, let's copy this. Let's go back here and ask that. As soon as you kind of hit the chat button, it starts getting your question back to the AI model behind the scene. And then AI model will gather data to kind of answer your query, and you will be able to receive a response out of it. Now, it doesn't matter where you're sitting, what records you are looking for is just across your application, whatever data you have, it'll start understanding it and responding you for that. Now let's understand the response. It gives you the latest invoice for this customer is the sales invoice this with the amount this. Here you see that invoice, and then also it gives you a reference from where it pulled that info. You can even click on it and actually go to that page to see what filters were applied. So if I filter on it, it says it looked for the sell to customer number filter or customer name filter, where it contains the word in my search string with case sensitive and anything at the beginning and anything at the end. And then based on this, it picked up the 220, which was the max number that was available. So it'll based on your queries, and you can click on the response and then search for it. And then it's a conversation. It's not just one simple thing that you can ask it. So you can actually get into a conversation with it. But whenever you get into conversation with it, it'll remember your previous answers. Okay. So you can continue this conversation, or if you have to start a completely different conversation, you can then hit this button to refresh or to kind of remove all the previous conversation like you do on your chat gpt on the public model that's available. So let's say I was watching this, and let's say we have this question: do we have any chairs in stock? And I did a mistake, but let's keep it under 300. Okay, and let's just search for that. Hopefully we'll be able to correct my spelling and try to suggest me what I have from the, hopefully from the item list that I have. Let's see, does it kind of first corrects my prompt that I made, and then will it be able to kind of convert that into a query in my item table. So as you can see, it did found some chairs, not the word that I have used, under 300, and then it gives you the brick view that we all know in available in Business Central, where you see the item picture, you see the name, quantity on hand, unit price, and then the base unit of measure and things like that. Again, as we saw in the last response, you can again go back into the data from where it kind of brought that result, and you can also see it here. It says they're filtered on item that are chairs and priced under $300 and are in inventory. No shorting has been applied, but here I see quantity on hand as 0. So let me actually go there. Okay. Sorry, I was doing something else. So it's kind of popping up here, but it should not come like this. Okay. So let's see the filters. It said chair, type inventory, and unit price is less than 300, but it did not apply the filter of are in inventory, which is it just applied the filter type inventory, which makes no sense from a Business Central perspective. It should be quantity on hand filtered or limit total to filter. So those were the filters applied. So it was not an exact answer that we were looking for. And if I want to see more detail about it, let's start a new conversation otherwise. Okay. Okay. And let's see. Show me the latest invoice. Let's see what it brings. I haven't mentioned sales or purchase. I even haven't mentioned customer or vendor. Let's see what it finds. Okay, and let me copy this. So it says these are the last invoices, sales invoice, and it only finds sales invoice based on the reference that I made. Now, out of this, as I was saying, that you can continue the conversation if needed. I found 3, and if I want to ask a question, which of these are unpaid, it should respect the filter hopefully with these 3, and then figure out of this, is there anyone which is not yet paid or where balance remaining amount is still available. So let's see what it brings. Okay, it's already done. Now it says that there is a 220 invoice and 223 invoice, these 2 which are unpaid, and this has been paid. So let's just verify this. First, let's click on this. And okay, where is my navigate? Where did that went? Microsoft, please don't keep moving stuff. Okay. This is the posted invoice. Why I can't see the navigate option?
Oh, it is not a posted invoice.
It's not posted.
Yeah, you see the status is still open.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's not posted. So it only showed me invoices, unposted invoices. Thank you for that. But are these two posted? Let's see. No, this is still unposted. So then it should say that all three are not paid for or posted yet. Okay. So yeah, based on the context that you give it, it'll kind of reply to you and it'll just be a window. Now, if you are a developer, let's remember some of the things. The Copilot chat feature will work as it is for your custom objects or custom data that you have. We don't have to do anything extra for it. It'll just start searching on based on the input that you gave it to. As a developer, if you're thinking, oh, that's a nice feature, let's start extending this. So at this moment, the Copilot chat feature, I'm trying to say it again and again, only the chat feature of Copilot is not extensible. So it's a platform built-in feature right now. As far as I was trying to find it in the application, I was not able to. So it's a baked-in feature in the application, in the platform. So you'll not be able to extend it at this moment. Will there be a possibility in future? I don't know. Now, if you are on a field, as we kindly or quickly saw it in the last meeting also, when the tooltip is popped up, you can also ask about the field. So if you as a new user don't know what a posting date is in Business Center, you can just directly ask it to Copilot. And then based on all the Microsoft documentation that's available around different tables, different fields in the application, this will try to get that data from MSDN and will show you the meaning of that field in Business Central. Now, this is again available across the application wherever you are. And let's say if you are on any setup, let's say sales and receivable setup, and you are on a field which you don't know about what this field does, rather than going into a separate tab on your browser, searching for it on Google or finding it, trying to find it on MSDN, you can do all that from your Business Central. And the information also comes up with a reference from where it found out that info. If you are a partner and you have built help documentation, or if you are looking for public forum blogs or community forums, this is not going to pick any info other than MSDN at this moment. So all the knowledge that is baked in the Copilot search is completely based on what is available on MSDN. If there is a custom field which is not available in the Microsoft documentation, it'll just return you nothing at that point. So don't expect it to bring data from the community sites or from any blog or any other suggestions. It'll only bring all the data that is available on MSDN. Any questions on this one before we move out of it? So yeah, we forgot to talk about the guide, but if I maybe there, let me mute Rishpal. Okay. If I don't know how to kind of post a sales order, let's say, so I can ask that question. And it'll again utilize the info that is available at MSDN to answer that question. Rishpal, yes, you have a question?
Yeah, it's fine, Madani. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Tell me.
No question. Actually, I have transferred the device only.
Okay. So as I said, you'll look for all your questions or all the questions that you're asking here, specifically around help or any field level help. based on whatever is available on MSDN, and you can get all the references from there. So this is the first feature that's available on the Business Central from the Copilot side. And any such feature that is available and you are maybe not able to see it, the first area that you need to go and check that is that feature available in your region. Now there are certain regions where it is not available, like especially in Canada because of the local rules, and in some regions where Microsoft don't have a data center or the model hosted, you might see a button here to allow it to send data across your geographical region. So what goes out from your geographical region to the OpenAI is just your query and none of your data. So Microsoft guarantees that the no model will be trained on customer data. So your data is not going out, only your query and the response that you're getting back is being exchanged between the the Copilot and Business Central. Now, as I said, what we did is utilize the chat, so that should be active. You can deactivate any feature that's needed or that's not needed to you. Additionally, one more thing that you need to remember specifically around Copilot, that it only works with language as English. Now, this is the same environment that I'm connected here, exactly same environment, but you'll not see that chat icon here. And the only reason is because in my settings, I don't have the language set as English. So the other thing that you need to remember is your language is set to English. Any variant of English will work as far as I've tried. It's not mandated to use English United States or any specific one. Now I'm a little bit lost. Which one should I choose? Okay, here. So if I choose, let's say English Australia, okay, it should refresh and it should start showing me the Copilot chat icon here. There are plans to extend it to other languages, but I'm not sure when that is coming in. But as of this moment, if you want to utilize the chat feature and you don't see it, check two things. One, on your Copilot and chat page, Copilot and AI capability page, if you see a button here, enable that on your demo or sandbox environment, wherever you want to try it. And the feature is active on your environment. And then you make sure that you have in my settings language set to English. Any version of English will work. Okay. Having said that, let's move into the next, which is our favorite feature that was released a while ago, which was the analysis view. Now we all have used into this analysis view. We have tried our combination, we have tried to find things that we needed, but the analysis view also come up with a bake-in Copilot feature. So on every list page, either it's a custom list page or a standard Microsoft list page or an ISV list page, you always will see this icon, which is the Copilot. And only on the list page, you'll also see an option, and also on the worksheet page, sorry for that, worksheet and list page, now you'll be able to see a new action under it called Analyze List. Now, as soon as you click on Analyze List, it starts with a prompt. Now, this is a page that we might be talking on the next meeting if needed, which is called Prompt Dialog. There's a new page type which was announced in the last release as preview. I hope it's still in preview. I'm not sure, but this is the prompt dialog page, which is just built in for all your interaction with AI models. Now in this, you start describing what you want. So let's say if I'm on, I don't have much data on the customers. Let's see. Let's use items because there should be a lot of data. Yeah, it's a good amount of data. So if I want to analyze the list and I want to see something, so I can say, let's say, show item base unit of measure and unit cost. As soon as I hit the generate, it'll automatically analyze what fields I'm looking for, and then will automatically create a analysis part for me, which will show me what I wanted. So I asked it to show item, base unit of measure, and unit cost, and you can see all them there. Now you can surely add fields here by just dragging them here. But as I said, it's a conversation, so you can start adding fields from here also. So I can say add unit price, let's say, after base unit of measure. It's a lot of work. I should have clicked there, but just to showcase you how it kind of understands your responses and then do the exact actions that you need. And the beauty is, because if you see here, there is a dotted line here. That means it's not yet committed because you haven't said that I would love to have this view. So it's still in kind of temp view. The other thing that you see with the prompt dialog is all your questions or all your prompts that you have made or suggestions that you have made are being stored. So you can always traverse back what you asked earlier. Whatever you have added later, you can again go to that and then choose which view you want. Now, if I if I here would like to, let's say, okay, let me see. Okay, show items or yeah, show items with base unit of measure. Again, I'll start updating that, and as you can see, it will filter out the list based on the prompt I have given. And if you want to see what it did, click on the analysis filter here, and you'll be able to see that it applied a filter on base unit of measure as can. So in the way that you want to kind of modify your views, analysis views, if you don't know how to do it, uh, then you kind of utilize this. Now let's see the other thing into this, and I'll discard it. So that means this will not be saved, and I'll be back here. And I'm here on this page. You also see this dictionary item. This dictionary item is called prompt guide, and the guide is used for the people who are using the whole AI model for the first time. So it helps them to generate some prompts. When we're talking about building this, we'll understand how you add this, but this is kind of gives you some context of what you can ask it for. You can ask it to group the data by something, show certain fields, pivot on certain fields. You can also do sorting, filtering, and you can also limit the transactions for a certain time. Again, you can do freeze columns, remove fields, and rename the tab if needed. So you can control everything from this Copilot window on your analysis mode. So now if I want here and I want to say, let's use the here and let's do group by vendor is there, right? So group by vendor. So as soon as I said group by vendor, it'll take all the item list data, get into analysis view, and automatically show me the list of items which are grouped by vendor. So now there are 8 items under vendor number, but I'm someone who good with the item number, so I can ask it to add item number before description. And on the same list or the analysis view, it'll start understanding your query and will start adding the fields that you need. So now you can see that the item number is also added, and I don't like the type field, so I can say remove the type field and add let's say unit price or unit cost and unit price. Okay, so it should now remove, if it understands me, remove the type field and then it did not. It surely added the unit cost and unit price, but it did not remove the type field. Okay. Let's see. Let's try again. Remove type.
So this is Copilot thing, Saurabh?
Yes, sir. This all what we are seeing right now is all happening via Copilot, and it's kind of accepting the changes that I'm needing. It still did not remove the type. So so maybe I'm doing something wrong, but
Is
it
this
should
same like
eventually.
that chatbot or
It's same.
AI chat?
So yeah, so in case of the analysis mode, it actually, when it goes to the model, it takes the field name on the context of the page you are in, and then your prompt. And then based on the fields that you are asking for and whatever it understands it, it'll automatically generate this view, and then the data is pulled in later. So your data doesn't go out.
Great.
Okay, any other questions here?
Yeah, instead of that remove type field, should we type like this? Hide type column or hide type? Is that
Let's
because
see.
of any?
I'm also learning. So let's do that. I
I
type
just
column.
guess. Yeah.
Okay, let's see what happens. No, it's kind of moving it toward right. It's not removing it, which is weird because I can actually click
Yeah.
on it, get over with it. Okay, and I did not save it, so let's go back. Okay, again, this feature is and as I was saying that you can also trigger the it here, and you can utilize these. If you have to rename certain things, you can do it here. If you have to freeze pane on a column, this is the kind of built-in thing that you can call it for. And so these are kind of hints what Microsoft is suggesting that you can use. You can do the sorting, data filtering, and other things here. You can show and pivot on some data. So let's see pivot, how it does that. So let's delete these. Let's get back here. And let's use analyze list. This time, let's try to do it pivot on. What should I pivot it on? Let's do vendor number again. Okay, let's see what happens. So this is what it came to, and it said that it has column level as vendor number and the row level as the item description and type. And then only show item with, let's say, replacement. Now, if you understand, the replacement is just a word which should be replaced with the substitution exist from a Business Central perspective. So when I look in here on the analysis filter, you see that it was able to understand that replacement means substitution exists as yes. So it then kind of translated that human text to a field mapping and then applied the filter if it understood it. Now, hopefully the substitute exists has a name available or a caption available, which I'm not aware about, but let's have a look if possible. Let me see if I can do that. Okay. Because yes, it's learning from itself, but how it did a replacement with that. Okay. So substitute exists. No, it just says substitute exists. So somewhere it did understood that substitute exists means replacement. And then it kind of applied that filter on that analysis that you are doing. Now let's go back and see which one is this. So when you do Copilot and AI capabilities, you see this as the second one as analyze list. Again, analyze list will be available on all pages, irrespective of which extension they are coming from. They can be from Microsoft extension, ISV extension, or from your PTEs. They'll just support all of that. Now, one thing which has been talked about or getting a lot of buzz is sales line suggestions. So let's quickly see that, because for others, I don't have the data yet. So let's go into, and at this point, the feature is only available on sales quotes, sales order, and sales invoices only. So let's get into sales quotes. You might, if you have seen that, let's see sales orders. Okay, let's create a new one. Notice on any card page, you will not notice the Copilot icon where you were able to see it on the list page. You define the customer here. Okay, once the customer is defined, and as soon as you come towards line section, you see this icon here called suggest sales line. Now it's also inside this icon because it's a subform, so it's visible here, and you can just click on it. What pops up is the prompt dialog, and it has a similar look and feel. There are some more options which you'll understand. The prompt as of today from Microsoft can either at this moment only understand the item names and the quantities only. You can use item numbers if needed, but the one way you can query it that you can ask for a certain item and a certain quantity. So like I can say, let's try this. I haven't tried this. I need 5 chairs and 1 lamp. Hopefully I have a lamp. I don't know. As soon as I do the generation, it should go ahead and on my item list start searching for these kind of description that I'm looking for chair and lamp. So it understood that I'm looking for chair and lamp. So now it is looking to find items which are available in my system which have the word chair in their name or lamp in their name. If it finds something, it'll start showing me those items into a nice structured format for my sales line to add. There is another use case of this or other scenario how we can use it, which we'll see. So now it's saying that you have a chair blue called London Swale. I don't know, on 5 quantities, which I asked for here. I need 5 chairs. And then I asked for a lamp with 1 quantity. So it said 1. Now that's one way of utilizing this. The other way as of today that Microsoft support it is by using the previous document reference. Again, we can click onto this guide, and then there are two types of prompt guide. One is add item. You can give the item description or the name. You can only give quantity or description, and you can continue giving descriptions and descriptions. That model we have tried. The other is the copy line items. So now you can also, the other way that you can use it to copy it from an older document. So if I say copy from last invoice, the context for which it will look for the last invoice is for the customer that is chosen on the header. So it is not looking for any last invoice. It is only looking for the last invoice for the customer that you have selected at the header. And you can also see the reference from where it is picking this. So you can click on this and it'll take you to that poster document for that customer. And all the lines with the same quantity will be populated here. You can make adjustments here. You can change the name if needed. And then unless you choose insert or keep it, whatever the actions that you see, it'll still is sitting in the temporary table. If you click insert, then and only then it'll get into the sales line. Now, there can be scenarios that, it's AI. I might not agree to what it is saying at this moment. So just on this page, and this is just to showcase what are the capabilities that you can utilize. Let's make the same query. I need 5 lamps this time and 2 chairs. Okay. I can suggest is to give me not only lines, but the confidence percentage of how much AI is confident about the response that AI is generating. So I can ask for confidence and then I can generate this. So now, other than whatever the fields that we saw in our last call, which was the item number, the description, and the quantity, which you requested on this prompt, we'll also see how much match AI thinks it is. So it kind of gets you from a belief perspective that how much you kind of accept what system is saying. So this gives you a little bit of faith on the response that has been generated. So here it says that the confidence of me searching it in the database is high, and the search term that I have used to search this item is lamp. Now, when we talk about items, and let's go into the items, it is looking into a lot of fields. It is looking into, let's see, it is surely looking into the attributes that are associated with that item. As of this moment, it is not looking into marketing text. So if I would have said color blue, it would have picked another item if there was another lamp. It is surely looking into description, description 2, the vendor item number, the translations which are available in item. So it is not just doing a straight filtering on the item description. It is as per Microsoft, because they have built the model, it is looking into 5-10 different fields to come up with the result or possibility to match the item that it is suggesting you. Now, if you are still not sure, there are other options under matching. So based on how precise you want a balance output, you can choose what you want, and then you can regenerate the output. Now, based on what you have said, if you are looking for a precise answer, it'll try to search for those answers here and will also tell you what search term would use to search the items which were read based on your input prompt. Okay, let's see what happens. So at this moment, on this add sales line, which if any of you can justify why it is needed, I'm still a little bit confused why this one is needed, but it only works if you supply it the item description and the quantity, or you use the scenario where you're copying from an existing document. And then once you're very sure about it, you can just hit insert and it'll just process these lines and put it into your sales order line that you are in. I guess I have told you all the limitation. The one thing which I forgot about it is that it only works on item at this moment. It is not going to copy from your GL accounts, or it is not going to suggest comments. It is not going to add your resources or anything else at this moment. It is only working to suggest sales line of type item. At this moment, you cannot tell it to, let's say, if I say from here, copy from last invoice, I had to generate this. At this point, it will select all item line from the previous invoice that was posted, or if you are giving a specific number. So let's see. Let me see this invoice, the posted sales invoice, and for edit them. Okay. Okay. So if I filter this for customer name, yeah, AI search, and let's pick 3165. Okay. 3165. Okay. So I can say 3165. Hopefully it should be able to find that. So look for that number 3165, and if it is found somewhere in the posted sales invoice number, you just pull all the lines of type item from that posted document in your suggestion. Now you cannot modify as per Microsoft to select only selected item. You cannot do top 5 selling item at this moment, and let's do that if possible. Let's try that. Top 5 items sold last, or I don't have the last month or sold. As per Microsoft, this should not return you anything, but let's give it a try. Yeah, it is not. So when you are giving it a open text, you need to make sure that you have the item number or the quantity defined in it. You can have a long description, but till the point it have the item number and the quantity that you need, or just the item description that you need, you'll be able to suggest it. It is not that flexible yet that it can go into your posted entries and identify which items are sold at the most, and then suggest you those. But this kind of gets a little bit start into it. Now, from a developer perspective, this is a code. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's try to understand what it is doing here. So it is baked in as a separate extension at this moment, and it should be a separate extension, which makes complete sense at this point. So what you can do, what you can see here is if you have the BC24 extensions available, this is the whole implementation or the extension which makes it possible to do the sales line suggestion. Now let's start from the beginning. Base app extension, this is the area where they have added this action. Now remember this, or focus on this, that they have added a new area called prompting on every page. So wherever you want to build in a custom AI feature, you now get a separate area, which is the prompting area, where you can add actions. Now what happens when you add it into the prompting area, let me explain you so that it makes sense. So when you add it on a prompting area, let's get into any list where there is an action. Oh, there is no action. I guess it is in the bank account page. Yeah. So if you have more than one actions here, the actions are placed here inside this menu if they are in the prompting area. It's just as simple action as you can add, but it'll only be visible inside this menu if it is under the prompting area of your standard page or by using the page extension. And then if you want to highlight it, you can then use the show in page, which then kind of makes it loud on the page and more visible to user to choose it from. Now the one that you see on the front is majorly whatever is on the top or the first action inside the Copilot icon. So this action is available, as I was saying, sales invoice, sales order, and sales code form. And it is that action to suggest sales line, which is then calling the get line suggestion functions. I'll just copy this. And then it is also available, if you notice on the bottom ribbon, when you go into the sales order subform, there's the same action available, which is calling the same function. The same action you'll see on all these pages, which is the same thing. So this is what they have modified on the base app, which makes sense. Now, when we are here, let's search for this function. Okay. So here is the get line suggestion, and this is the code unit for sales line suggestion implementation. Okay. It accepts the sales line for sure to kind of add records into it at the later stage. It gets the sales header to get the context of the customer, because that's the customer which will be used when you are looking for the last invoice posted and all. Then there is a built-in code unit, it seems, for Azure OpenAI, which is just to verify that is it enable or not. So if you are building your custom AI model, you will also have to register it into that OpenAI page that we just saw a while ago. And then this function is just to make sure that even this capability is enabled or not. Now telemetry is for recording things, and then there is a .NET component, which is AL search, which we surely cannot see. And that's pretty odd that they are still utilizing the .NET component here. Okay. And I don't see it in this, which is more bad. Okay. So they're searching for it, and then it enables a search. Now, if the sales header is found, then it sets on a page called Sales Line AI Suggestion. And this is the prompt dialog page. What we are seeing where we are inputting our request, it is that page is being called from here, and it sets the context of the header, then enable the lookup mode, and then runs it. Okay, let's have a look on that page. Now, as I said, this is a page of type page type prompt dialog. It need an application area and editable as usual, but then it's a completely different page. So sorry if I'm running fast into it, but there are different kind of areas in this page, not common areas that we see. The areas here are prompt. Now prompt is the area where you input your request, what you are going to ask it. Now that area is called prompt. What you see on the screen is the instruction text ML about which we talked last week, where it says describe item and quantities to refer to refer the existing document to copy from. Let me open it again so that you understand what I'm saying. Let's go into the code. Let's do this. Let's do this. Now what you see here is coming from this property, which is instruction text ML. Now at this point, this screen is acting as a prompt. Prompt is your input dialog where you enter fields or the text that you want. Now prompt can be generic, where you can just give a long text where user can enter, or you can either have groups, fields, or parts into it. Okay. Now, once the area prompt is done, where you can enter the things that are needed for user to kind of key in the data, the other one is called content. Now, content is the area where the AI generation process returns you the output. Now, if you pay attention to this, this is coming as a group here, and which have different field, the status line, and then there is this part of sales line AL suggestion sub. Now this is the temporary table which gets populated when AI generates a response. How? If I say, let's use this. If I do this, what you see here, now the same window from prompt is now converted to your content, and what you see here is the suggested sales line. Now this is coming from this subpart, which is showing you the response of it. Now, whatever options that you see here, other than the insert and discard, is coming from this prompt options, which is the matching style, the view options, and then again, it's a completely new page. So there are new areas even in the actions. The actions in the prompt dialog page are tagged as system actions. Now the system action generate is equivalent to clicking on that button, which we clicked here, and let me do that here. This becomes your generate action, which kind of generates the or sends the request to the model. We'll get into this, what the code is written here, and then the OK one is to accept the change that the prompt is returning you. The cancel is obviously the change where you don't want to you want to discard the suggestion that came from AI. And then these are the dictionary help that you're getting from it. all these. And then all these actions of OK and cancel, you cannot have code on these actions. So let me go up here. You cannot actually add a code into it. You just can only add actions and their enable conditions here. The code for OK and cancel will be written on our favorite query close page. So if it is OK, then do this. If it is not OK, then do this. Okay. Now let's come down here. And as I said, that this can only work if you have the table set as, let me go here. Now this is based on a table called source table, sales line suggestion. And this table is set as temporary. So any output that you get from AI is always initially stored into a temporary table until unless user says approve, it doesn't get into the actual table. So whenever you are designing the whole Copilot, custom Copilot feature for your customers, this is the property that's very important, that you will not be able to insert or use a table without the temporary property set to have data inserted from AI into it. It directly rejects those kind of insert into it. Okay, so let's come back here and let's understand what happens when we click on the generate button. Prompt, okay. It's my content and this is my action of generate. So here we might not see much detail because it seems Microsoft is using the .NET component here, but here it is doing the trim if there are blank spaces, and then this is the function generate sales line suggestion. Now what it is passing it is the search query, the query that you have asked for or typed in, and then it is deleting anything that is on that temporary table. Then it goes into this implementation and generate the sales line suggestion. Okay, I just want to see where it's being called. Okay. So here it says AI call, and then it says to the AI call, pass the built-in system prompt. Now, what is built-in system prompt? A user can type certain prompts that I want 5 items of this and 2 quantity of this item. But if you want to give additional prompt input before the user input, then you can create a function like this so that it kind of builds your prompt and then adds the customer context to it. So let's see what Microsoft is trying to add here. Okay, there are some secret values they are passing, and that's it. Okay, I have done it and I have completely used it in a different way. It doesn't seem Microsoft is doing that way. They're just adding the task prompt and meta prompt, and this is their model, so we don't have any access to it. When the prompt is written, it just passes that to the AI one, which is this function, and this whole code majorly will remain same. Okay, it'll not change. If you're doing a custom one, you might change this line based on your capability that you're using. Then here is the authorization, the Copilot capabilities that you're looking for. Then these are the built-in methods. Earlier, Max token were not available, but it seems Microsoft have added the Max token. We can talk about Max token or tokens sometime in future. But this is based on the model that you're selecting. That number varies. It is set the temperature, prompt, and search item, document look. So it is just preparing the the input before it gets sent to the AI model. Once it is sent, here is the model line which is being sent at generate chat compilation. Now this passes all these parameters that has been said earlier, and then it returns you something. So here it is called chat pilot, send notification. There's nothing. Chat pilot answer text. So now this comes back as this, and then it processes that response, because if you have chatted with any AI model, you'll see it doesn't normally return you a structured data. return you the same text that you are passing it, which is a chat model more or less. But here, if you look at it, what Microsoft is doing is based on the answer that is replied by the AI model, it is parsing that response into seems like a JSON object and then converting it into a table, what you see on your screen. So it's based on what kind of input you are passing, and then based on that input, the AI model will respond in the same way. And let me see if I can show you an example to kind of make more sense with it. Okay, let's see if I have other profile where I've not used ChatGPT yet. If I have, I'll use something else. Hopefully I have something. Okay. Okay, this is completely new chat. Okay. Now let's say, let's ask it a question. Let's do something. Provide me a list of top 10 cricketers. Okay, and again, my spelling is wrong. Okay. 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 Now, if you ask you something like this, then you will get a response like this. Now, think as a developer, this response makes no sense to you. If you're trying to fit this into a table somewhere, it'll be very hard to process this. Let me ask the same question, but in a little bit different context. Now what happens? It gives me a response in JSON, which now I have a little bit of control of how I can manage this, how I can process this. Let's ask the same question again. Respond in JSON and only show me player name. So now you see the response, the question is same, but based on the prompt that I'm changing, I'm getting different kind of responses. So as a developer, whatever user has feed in, you can add more to the prompt. So the user question was the first question, provide me a list of 10 cricket batsmen. And then I have added my prompt, additional prompt that will help me to read that output, what I receive from it. And then I have also modified it so that I get as close as I can to the answer that I'm looking for. So in the same way, all that is done here. I cannot see what prompt is being sent because that is being sent from a .NET component. But if you look at it here, it says if the answer.json says tools call, that means there is a JSON node which is called as tools call. And then for each tool in the tool call, it is breaking it into the type, the name, and other things that it is responding. And then once it is able to decrypt that message, then it is recording it into the temp sales suggestion, temp sales line AI suggestion. Now that function then copies it and then shows you as a table X. So that's why this you see all that code is you want to control the behavior of what user have sent, what additional parameter or limitation you have passed to the model so that you are able to read the response and then you process that response based on what you want. So let's say if JSON was not available, I could have asked the same question, but this time I would have said, oh, because JSON is not available, give me the same response. If I can find that, yeah. Give me the same response this time into XML. So it based on what you are comfortable reading, you can formalize the same question response into different ways. And then it'll give you the response in that way. So all these additional code that you see while interacting with the AI model is just to make sure that the response is readable and you as a developer control what responses you'll get and how you format it for user viewing. Does that make sense, guys? Or it's still went completely out. Okay, so we are top of our hour. Now I'll ask the same question again. We have very few people left. But should we continue around building a custom model around it? Or should we continue working on what's new in BC24? Whatever you guys say.
I think Saurav, better to complete what's new. That's my opinion.
Okay. Better to complete what's new. Okay, not a problem. Okay, so then in that case, we'll meet next week. We'll continue whatever we'll not be able to complete next week, but we'll continue whatever is left, whatever we haven't covered. And then if it sounds interesting, we'll come back to the whole AI model, and then we'll start from scratch, from building a model, then building the prompt dialogue, asking it the question, uh, managing the responses, and then formatting those responses for user visibility. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank
See
you.
you next week then. Thanks.
Yeah. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Thanks, interest. Thanks, your report.
Thanks. Okay. So if you are still here, let me know what you feel about it. I know it was a little bit confusing. We were trying to cover a lot of things. But if you think differently than people in the meeting that we should continue about the Copilot discussion, let me know into the comment section. And maybe I'll do a separate video about it, not just in the BC open discussion. If I missed something, let me know again into the comment section. I'll try to fix that going forward. And thank you for watching this. And you know the drill. If you like the content, hit the like button. If you think this is something that other developer will find beneficial, please do share it on your social media account. If you haven't, please do subscribe to the channel. It helps us to understand how we are doing, what else we should be doing. And if you want to join these meetings going forward, this link is available and gets updated maybe an hour after this meeting. And you will be able to register for the next week by clicking on this link. So I'll see you next week at the same time, same day. Till then, keep learning and keep sharing. Thank you.